The year was 1952. The atomic age. Television. The baby boom.
The war ended and the 50s came and never left. And the California dream of 100,000 tract houses with dog and garage came true with a lifetime sentence working in the airline factory, riveting airplanes ready for the next war and the next and the next. And this week's cartoon.
Living the life of the beat American novelist was Jack Kerouac. A brief marriage produced a daughter, but Jack was already gone again somewhere around the bend by the time she was born. Her mother named her Jan Michelle. She was the little girl child of Jack's, but he may as well have been the invisible man to her. They only saw each other twice in life, spoke once on the phone also. She grew up without a dad, and that's what this story's all about, how they passed each other like ships in the night. Because they really were like two peas in a pod, Jan and Jack. They just didn't realize how much, but what if they could find the chance to finally get to connect to complete the circle? One last chance before it's forever gone, too late. Even in the afterlife where the journey on the road continues, what if? Come on, Jack, we got a car. We got a car. Come on, Jack. We got a car. I woke in the morning, my mouth was bone dry. I've been up all night drinking bourbon and rye. Now my girl outside says she's leaving today, so I'm drinking myself to a wild grave. They're all around, just round the bend. Life on the road, life without end.
Jack Kerouac, the novelist who wrote On the Road, reached the end of it today. The 47-year-old spokesman for the Beat generation died of a massive hemorrhage in a St. Petersburg, Florida hospital.
All aboard the night train.
Life on the road, life on the road, is life without end. Jack sat down with the rest of the travelers without muttering a word. He seemed shy, downcast of eye. He had unfinished business in the good old world, and he knew now it was too late, for he was on his way. He rode along in silence. His thoughts turned to the daughter he never knew now for some reason. She was on his mind. But it's too late, he thought. Too late, too late. Search for your father, never came home. But with no map to guide him, he just ended up lost. You had to find him, whatever it cost. I should have. I could have. They're all around. I should have. I could have.
Next stop, Spirit Cafe. Spirit Cafe, next stop.
There is a place in the spirit world where traveling souls can connect just after they leave their earthly confines. Not everyone stops here. If you happen to be one of those lucky ones who have no regrets or reason to look back, then you can just journey on towards your final destination. Stay aboard the train or just float on by. But the door's always open to spirits of all persuasion. This heavenly roadway stop in the sky is called the Spirit Cafe. The winds of time are always blowing outside the door of the Spirit Cafe. There's a sign on the door, a place where travelers can connect. Always open. Entertainment nightly. Come on in. Stay a spell. So Jack thought to himself, Spirit Cafe, a place where travelers can connect. I'm getting off here, he said. For the first time in a long while, his eyes had that true blue sparkle that seemed to have vanished. He wondered if it was finally like he used to say, safe in heaven, dead at last. Your favorite song begins to play the moment you enter. The singer seems to wink and smile as if she's been expecting you all the while. Some travelers curiously look in for a moment, then journey on. Others will sit a while and enjoy the sounds and the feeling of euphoria that the house wine offers. A favorite this month is Memory Merlot. The doorman knew who Jack was, of course, and politely told him to behave himself. Jack mumbled something incoherently and looked down embarrassed and smiled. Just like old times, he thought. He sat down next to the window in the corner, almost invisible, and ordered a glass of Memory Merlot. Ah, this is heaven, he thought. Jack felt finer with each sip of wine. He thought of his old cat. Timmy, his old cat, his old favorite cat. He just wished he had him curled up around his feet. Gee, I miss that old cat. I was just thinking about you. The centuries wise old waitress walks up and says,
You have a visitor, Mr. Kerouac.
Jack looks down and sees his cat, who looks back up at him and meows and purrs, walks around his legs with affection. Timmy, Jack explains. His cat looks up and with a magic cat mental telepathy says, Hey, don't feel bad, man. I was on my 5th life and I still have 4 to go. So it was always love, and love was all between them in the moment. His cat just turned and disappeared into the wondrous moonlight outside the window. Some cats are like that. Jack calls over to the waitress and says, Hey, how long can I stay?
Mr. Kerouac, you may stay here as long as you wish. Time is irrelevant, but you must remember, you have a 3-glass maximum, Mr. Kerouac, before you must go and continue on to your final destination. The way it works is this, Senor Kerouac. If you have a need to see someone who has passed on from Earth and traveling the heavens, then you can drink a glass of memory, and all you need to do is to say out loud who it is you need to see, and they will be here for you if they in turn are willing to do so. You have this ability with each glass of memory Merlot you consume. You must remember, however, that you have used your first glass for a visit with your pet cat, and you are now on your second glass, Mr. Kerouac. So be careful what you wish for. Good luck to you.
Wow, whom should I ask for, he thought. I'll just sit and listen to the music and sip my wine as I ponder. Suddenly Jack thought of his little brother Gerard. I want to see my brother, he said. I want to see Gerard. At that very moment, his brother Gerard was sitting next to him. Little saintly Gerard, still 9 years old. They hugged and they laughed the same way they did when they were little, before sickness took Gerard to heaven so soon. Jack thanked his little brother for teaching him all about compassion and respect for all sentient life. It was a lesson he treasured from his little brother after all, and all was love. Gerard said he must be going, and he turned and disappeared into the magical moonlight, just like his cat did. Wait, yelled Jack. What's it like in heaven, Gerard? But he was already gone, just around the bend. Just round the bend. Life on the road. Life on the road is a life without When You Wish Upon a Star was being sung in the background, and Jack felt all warm inside, like a home fire burning in his heart. Little saintly Gerard, little brother of mine, he said. As Jack sat and enjoyed the music, he looked out the window as travelers passed by. A big black bear rambled up to the window and someone gave him a honey jar. He just turned and disappeared into the spiritual night also. A school of flying fish flew by on their way to night school, then disappeared to the dark side of the moon. This is nice, thought Jack. I could get used to this. Then he remembered. I have a destination also, he thought. All those golden nirvanas of eternity were waiting out there, and he had to find his place. He knew he couldn't stay forever at the Spirit Cafe. He had 1 glass of memory before he would have to journey on. That voice in the back of his mind kept returning to the daughter he never got to know. What about Jan Michelle? Wish I could see Jan